Let's take a look at this assignment based upon SIMCAT 16 VARC. Now, I had a tough time selecting two passages because just one passage had all the questions that were logically sound. The rest, all passages had some issue or the other. Some had issues with two questions, some had issues with even more number of questions. Either the questions were quite absurd or the options were ridiculous. I just, with great difficulty, could select one more passage. So there are two passages here, and the second one has got some issues. I'll highlight them. VA, anyway, the less said the better, because summaries are, so IMS is notorious for giving these kind of summaries which would never come in CAT. You can go back and check for the last 6 years. The length of the summary passage that is given in IMS box is half a page almost. That's just pathetic. And the options are also, they run into multiple lines. So these kind of summaries never come in CAT. I don't know why they keep giving again and again. Jumbles, out of 3, 2 were okay. One was quite dicey and not difficult. Not difficult. It was absurd, because you could see what is the absurd jumble, where you can have multiple sequences without affecting the meaning. And then one para completion also was similarly bad. So let's see, whatever I've selected, let's go through them. First passage comes up. For years, evidence has been mounting that bacteria are linked to cancer and sometimes even play a crucial part in its progression. Now, researchers have found a similar connection with another type of microorganism, fungi. Fine, straightforward. Tumors of various types of cancer contain different species of microscopic or single-celled fungus, and investigating the species that are present might one day be useful for diagnosing cancer or predicting its course, according to 2 studies published in Cell. Amy Bhatt, microbiome specialist, cautions that the studies only suggest that there is an association between fungal species and certain cancers. They do not show whether or not fungi are directly responsible for cancer progression. So now they've been able to find evidence of another microorganism, which is fungi. They already knew that bacteria are linked to cancer, but now they have discovered fungi also. And so this is these studies. There are 2 studies. But they are not really conclusive. They just suggest that there is an association between species and certain cancers, but whether the fungi are directly responsible for cancer progression, that is yet to be seen. Like bacteria, fungal microorganisms form a crucial part of human microbiome, a delicate balance of microbes living inside the body. To understand how this composition might be altered in people with cancer, Leanne, a cancer biologist, and her colleagues catalog fungal populations in more than 17,000 tissues and blood samples representing 35 types of cancer. So, sorry. So, like bacteria, fungus is also a crucial part of our microbiome. Microbiome means whatever the microenvironment or microorganisms that live within a human being. So, fungus is also there as something, a part of that, right? Now, how this composition might be altered, they conducted a study in 17,000 tissue and blood samples representing 35 types of cancer. So that means they looked at various types of cancer and collected blood samples and tissues and looked for whether the fungal population or composition was altered because of cancer. As expected, fungi, including several types of yeast, were present in all types of cancer, but some species were linked to different outcomes depending on cancer. For example, the presence of Malassezia, a fungus that was previously associated with pancreatic cancer, was linked to significantly reduced survival rates in breast cancer, the researcher found. So, some species, so now different species linked to different outcomes. So, some fungus associated with A cancer, some causing B cancer, or linked to reduced survival rate in some other cancer. By also characterizing the bacteria in the tumors, Naronsky and her colleagues found that most types of fungus had certain bacterial species that they tended to coexist with, meaning that tumor might favor both fungal and bacterial growth, unlike typical environments in which fungi and bacterial compete for over shared resources. So, different types of fungi and with different types of outcomes, and they found that most types of fungus have associated bacterial species. That means A type of fungus will have B type of bacteria, C type of fungus will have D type of bacteria. They tended to coexist with, which is surprising because in typical environment, both fungus and bacteria do not coexist, they compete. So here they seem to be coexisting. Characterizing fungal cells in a tumor is like finding a needle in a haystack, says Deepak Saxena, who has researched the fungus cancer connection. Depending on the sample, there is usually about one fungal cell for every 10,000 tumor cells, he says. Furthermore, many of the fungal species in question are widespread, which makes sample contamination a serious concern. That means the researchers had to take great care to filter out any potential evidence of contamination or false matches for fungal DNA from their results. For example, researchers found a DNA fragment misidentified as portobello mushroom, common edible fungus in tumor tissues from across the body. So now you need to characterize or find out which fungal cells are present in the tumor. So now that becomes a challenge, because one is there only one fungal cell which is there in about 10,000 tumor cells. And these fungal species are widespread. That means there is a contamination also possible, and which was shown by the DNA fragment of portobello mushroom. It's common edible fungus. It was found in tumor tissues. So there is a contamination, that whether this DNA fragment of this portobello mushroom, is it really linked to the cancer? So there is a contamination of the sample which is possible. So these were obviously certain issues. Although this research provides the clearest link between between cancer and fungi, Saxena says more work is needed to understand whether fungi can contribute to cancer progression by causing inflammation, for example, or if advanced tumors create a habitable environment that encourages fungal cells to take hold. Answering these questions will require researchers to investigate one type of cancer at a time, use laboratory cultured cells and animal models to test whether the fungi encourage healthy cells to become cancer. So there's a link, yes, but more work is needed to understand whether it can contribute to this progression. See, there is a link that yes, you could find fungal cells in tumors. So there is a link, but whether fungi can contribute to progression of cancer by causing inflammation, or whether tumors create a habitable environment that encourage fungal cells to come and take hold, that remains to be seen. So we need to investigate one type of cancer at a time. Here they were investigating 35 types of cancer at some place, right? And use laboratory cultured cells and animal models to test, right? So this passage talks about the presence of fungus in tumor cells, and whether it can be identified or established that the tumors are linked to, or they are responsible for cancer progression. So that could not be ascertained. Yes, fungus cells were found in cancer cells or in tumors, but whether they caused it, or whether the advanced tumors created a habitable environment, that is not very clear and needs more study. Let's take a look at the questions now. Which of the following statements accurately describes the potential benefits of link between fungi and cancer as discussed in the passage? So potential benefits of link between fungi and cancer. If we are able to establish, then what will it help us with? So tumors of various cells contain species. Investigating the species that are present might one day be useful for diagnosing cancer or predicting its course. So this is what will be the potential benefit, right? So let's look for such an answer. The presence of fungi within tumors would provide compelling evidence and prompt a re-evaluation of cancer treatments. ऐसा कुछ नहीं बोल रहा है. Okay, predicting its course, diagnostic and predicting its course. अभी उसकी दवाई निकलेगी, treatment होगा कि नहीं होगा, वो सब कुछ नहीं बताया उसको. Exploring the link between cancer and fungi could aid the development of strategies to alter the composition of human microbiome. बिल्कुल गलत है. There is absolutely no mention of whether the altering of composition of human microbiome will happen, and this is totally irrelevant here. It is just that they plugged some words, microbiome and all of that, and put it here. So this is totally irrelevant. Presence of certain fungal species in tumors might become useful for diagnosing cancer and predicting its course. Very easy question, very easy answer. Direct question, a very direct question. So this will be the answer. No need to look here or there. Establishing a direct link could help us understand how the human microbiome is altered. Again, same. He seems to be obsessed with human microbiome for some reason. Okay. All right. So easy question. No problem with this. The researchers face all of the following challenges in identifying and characterizing fungal cells in tumors, except. So where are these given? These are given here. characterizing fungal cells in a tumor is like finding a needle in a haystack. And what are the challenges here? There's only one fungal cell for 10,000 cells, plus many of these are widespread. So there's a contamination. There is a chance of contamination. They have to take great care. So all of this. So answer is found in this particular paragraph. We'll come back if needed. Fungal DNA can have different outcomes depending on types of cancer. So how does this pose a challenge in identifying and characterizing fungal cells? See, this is relevant to something else. Okay, different outcomes has been mentioned here. That there are different outcomes, where some species were linked to different outcomes. So again, same thing has been done. That some words have been plugged from different passages and just thrown into a sentence. So this looks to be not true and could be the answer. Presence of fungal DNA is very small. In very small numbers can evade detection. बहुत clearly दिया हुआ है in very small numbers. So this is not the answer. There is a risk of contamination very clearly given. DNA sequence in tumor cells can be potentially misidentified as fungal DNA. So ये भी लिखा हुआ है कि false matches for fungal DNA. Right? DNA fragment misidentified as this common edible is in tumor tissues. Right? So there is a mismatch or a false match. So this also is given, not the answer. So A is a very clear answer. Simple questions, both of these. Which of the following statement best describes the conclusion of Deepak Saxena and M.E. Bhatt about the link? So Deepak Saxena जी क्या कह रहे हैं? Deepak Saxena जी कह रहे हैं कि ठीक है, link तो मिल गया है, but we need further study. Okay, we need to really more work is needed to understand whether fungi can contribute to this by causing inflammation, or if advanced tumors create a habitable environment. And M.E. क्या कह रही है? M.E. says cautions that studies only suggest that there is an association. They do not show whether or not fungi are directly responsible for. So ठीक है, ये भी यही कह रहा है, ये भी यही कह रही है, एक तरह से. Saxena believes that more research is needed to understand the exact role of fungi. ठीक है. While Bhatt believes that fungi are directly responsible. So first part is okay here, but second part is a white lie, plain jhoot, सफेद झूठ. Okay, because Bhatt doesn't believe in that. Bhatt says that she doubts. Okay, she says cautions that studies only suggest, they do not show. Okay, so very clearly one is wrong. Saxena believes that more research is needed to understand the exact role. Exactly as one, fine. While Bhatt establishes that fungi form a crucial part. What is this crap? This is totally wrong. Saxena concludes that fungi and bacteria compete over shared resources. So it's not Saxena who says that fungi and bacteria compete over shared resources. Okay, Saxena has got nothing to do with this bacteria. So this is anyway wrong here itself. And this also is wrong. Both parts are wrong. D is the right answer. Saxena expresses a need for deeper exploration of fungi's involvement, but underscores the preliminary nature of findings tying fungi to cancer. Okay, so underscores the preliminary nature. This is preliminary in nature. Studies only suggest that there is an association. So this is okay. This we can give it to M.E. Bhatt. ठीक है, M.E. Bhatt ने ठीक बोल रही है यहाँ पे. So fourth is the right answer. In the light of the passage, which of the following inferences can be drawn from the fourth paragraph? Sorry. So which of the following inferences can be drawn from fourth paragraph? Fourth paragraph में क्या लिखा हुआ है पहले देख लेते हैं एक बार. So when you are faced with such questions, inferences can be drawn from fourth paragraph. Don't look at the options first. Just go to the fourth paragraph, review it, and then come back, because sometimes you might be misled by the options. So fungi में several types of yeast होते हैं. Some species are differently linked for different outcomes. So ये example दिया है इसका. This has been associated with this, but it significantly reduced survival rates in this. Okay. And by also characterizing the bacteria, most type of fungi have certain bacterial species that tended to coexist. मतलब एक specific type के fungus के साथ में एक specific type की bacterial species coexist करते हैं. That means tumor might favor both. Okay, let's look at the options. The type of fungi in a tumor is determined by the bacteria. Yeah, the type of bacteria in a tumor is determined by fungi, which is correct here. Obviously, the second part is correct. Fungi is not determined by bacteria. Bacteria is determined by fungi, because very clearly it is written that most types of fungus had certain bacterial species that they tended to coexist with. So it is fungi which drives bacteria, not the other way around. So this is wrong. Malaria globose affects the mortality of cancer patients. Now we यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है कि it significantly reduce survival rates in breast cancer. So prima facie this looks okay, isn't it? that it affects the mortality of cancer patients, right? In a way. Okay, breast cancer nahi diya hua, but breast cancer patients are also cancer patients. So is this statement wrong? I don't think so. Let's look at the next one. Most fungi tend to cause specific bacterial species in cancer tumors. Tend to cause. They don't tend to cause, okay? They are associated with, okay? They are associated. That means if there is a certain type of a fungi, then there'll be certain type of bacteria. So the fungi does not cause the bacteria to come. So this tend to cause is wrong here. Okay, so that's why this is wrong. Fungal growth in tumors shows its link to cancer. This we can still infer. Fungal growth in tumors, so is linked to, right? So fungi were present in all, but some species were linked to different outcomes. Presence of this has been associated. Characterizing bacteria, the most fungus had certain bacterial species. Tumor might favor both fungal and bacterial growth. So fungal growth shows it's linked to cancer. This inference can be drawn. But my question was that why can't this also be drawn? Okay, though this talks about cancer patients in general, not specifically breast cancer patients, but can't this be affects the mortality of cancer patients? Can't this inference be drawn? To my mind, it can be drawn. Correct answer given is fourth, though. Fungal growth in tumors shows its link to cancer. This is also correct. Its inference will also be correct. So this is not a very good question. Though I said that there is one passage that has got all the questions logical, I kind of now tend to disagree with that statement by after again evaluating this. The sense that this is a suboptimal, maybe not the first choice, because this cancer in general is written right here. Okay, and so in the absence of this, we can definitely would have assumed we would have inferred this, but this we cannot rule out. But this we can still find problems with second one. That from that perspective, we can still say that okay, we can eliminate this and go with this. Not a good question in the sense, not a good option here to give. They should have made it more specific. Anyway, so that's it. So that's the first passage. Let's go to the second one. So the notion of multiple causes finds a varied expression in the history of philosophy. In a system of logic, John Stuart Mill despairs at the impossibility of picking out a single cause from background conditions of an event. Here we might imagine a ball flying through a pane of glass. What was the cause of the breakage? Perhaps the thrower, perhaps the ball, perhaps the vulnerability of the glass, perhaps the effect of gravity. Each of these counts as a condition, but picking out any particular condition as a cause seems arbitrary. So cause and effect ki baat ho rahi. So for any effect, or he calls it any event, there could be different causes. And how do you pick out a single cause? So let's say the example given is of a ball which hits a pane of glass and shatters it. So who is responsible, or what is the cause? Is it the person who threw it, the ball itself, or the vulnerability of the glass, or gravity? Which one is responsible? So we cannot pick any of these, because if you pick any one particular condition, then it is arbitrary. In his essay on the notion of cause, Bertrand Russell likewise notes that progress in science consists in recognizing a continually wider circle of antecedents as necessary for precise calculation of any event. For Russell, however, the scientific pursuit of exactitude soon bottoms out in the mature science of physics, according to which differential equations specify the changes in position and velocity of fundamental particles, and causes play no role at all. So this Bertrand Russell now, he takes a different view. So he says that progress in science means that you keep widening your circle of antecedents. That means you keep widening the circle of probable causes, or not really causes, but you can say antecedents, as necessary for precise calculation. And therefore, scientific pursuit of exactitude soon bottoms out in the mature science of physics. So this is very important, according to which differential equations specify the changes in position. So this leads to differential equations and velocity of fundamental particles. And causes play no role at all. So causes don't have any role in finding out what actually caused an event. So it is all left to differential equations. But to backtrack from Russell's conclusion, it has to be pointed out that in every other area of science, from biology to psychology to sociology, causal inquiry remains alive and well. Causal inquiry, sorry, not causal. This is best explained by agency theories of causation, according to which human beings define causes in terms of handles for manipulating events. Now, we are going back from this conclusion. So let's say we are not in agreement with this conclusion. So in every other area of science, whether it is biology, so psychology, sociology, we look at causal theory. Okay, causal theory is still alive and well, and this is best explained by agency theories of causation. Human beings define causes in terms of handle. The agency means control. कौन control कर रहा है उसको? Agency theory of causation also provides a neat solution to Mill's dilemma. What separates causes from mere conditions is our ability to control them. So agency means the control. Who controls? So condition और cause में फर्क ये है कि who controls. To return to the ball flying to the pin, it is easy to see some of his conditions are more susceptible to human influence. तो अब इसमें human being क्या influence कर सकते हैं? So if you want to avoid the breakage, then you can decide not to throw the ball. You can control it, or use a softer ball, soft ball ले लो, या फिर thicker windows लगा दो. So all these are within your control. So therefore, these are the causes which are in your control, and these are not the conditions. There are certain conditions which are not in your control. We cannot, however, manipulate the strength of gravity. The former conditions therefore causal in a way that latter is not. These are the handles of agency theory. So these जो cause कर रहे हैं ये handles हैं agency theory में. Contra Mill, however, we need not require that such handles be singular. So Mill के now if we try to contradict this argument, then we need not require that such handles be singular. That means जरूरी नहीं कि ये एक ही हो, ऐसे multiple handles हो सकते हैं. The recognition of multiple causal handles of a choice about where we place the source of a problem has the pleasing upshot of pouring cold water on a single factor fundamentalist who dominate political discourse. So there could be multiple reasons for it. Now this pours a cold water. That means this disappoints people who favor single factor that dominates political discourse. That means in political discourse, generally, people consider that only one single factor is responsible for whatever events happen, or single cause. So obviously, when we recognize that there are multiple causal handles, then it pours cold water. Means, so pouring cold water means it disappoints, or it kind of it doesn't go well with them. Right? They don't agree to this. It doesn't agree with what they are saying. What was the cause of financial crash, 2008 financial crash? Reckless deregulation, says the socialist. Socialist कहते हैं कि आपने deregulate कर दिया, regulation खराब था इसलिए हो गया. Reckless over regulation, says the libertarians. दूसरी तरफ वाले बोलते हैं reckless over regulation. What is the cause at any given strain on public resources? Lack of government spending. Immigration, says the right. तो अलग अलग points of view है. Ideology leftist कह रहा है कि government की spending नहीं है. Rightist कह रहा है देखो immigration से लोग आ रहे हैं, illegal migrant, they are eating up our public services resources. So different views or multiple causes are there in any political discourse. Taking a step back from such controversy, it should be obvious that complex social phenomena also always have multiple causes. I'm not, however, promoting fence sitting. So बहुत सारे causes होते हैं. Fence sitting means not saying anything or not deciding or not giving your view. In fact, I believe that change in perspective that renders causes in terms of handles offers up two practical heuristics for navigating causal disputes. तो अब इसमें दो heuristics means दो heuristics मतलब rule of thumb बताएं इसमें कि we can look at two rules of thumb for handling these causal disputes. First, when it appears that there exists a choice of causal handles. Suppose there is a choice. Somebody says this is because of over-regulation. Somebody says because of under-regulation. Advocates of a particular handle must go beyond merely demonstrating that it exists. तो उनको सिर्फ यही नहीं कहना चाहिए कि ये reckless deregulation है. They should go beyond that. They will be forced to say why their handle is fairer or otherwise more desirable to lean on. So they have to basically argue it out or debate it out. They cannot simply keep shouting that okay, अगर जैसे financial debacle था, या crash था, तो reckless deregulation कारण हुआ. तो भाई क्यों reckless over regulation कारण नहीं हुआ? You have to explain, because the other guy is saying it is because of reckless over regulation. So the point is, if somebody says A is as a cause, somebody says B as a cause, so that person who is saying A as a cause has to go and justify that why he is considering A to be better or fairer than B. So this is one heuristic. There will be, okay. Then the second heuristic is, and second, advocates of a particular causal handle will be forced to speak of practicalities. If a cause isn't tractable, then it is strictly not speaking a cause at all. तो ये उसका दूसरा ह्यूरिस्टिक है. तो अगर cause tractable means something that can be controlled. Okay, something that is within control. तो प्रैक्टिकलिटी मतलब अगर आपके कंट्रोल में नहीं है तो फिर वो कॉज नहीं होगा. Okay, if something is not within control, so you have to look at the tractability, whether it is under control. Okay, so two heuristics. One is you have to show that A is fairer than B, and you have to also show that A is within control of somebody. Okay, whoever it is. So that is how this kind of issues, multi-causal issues or disputes would be resolved. So that's what is the author's view, right? So this passage basically talks about causes, and he says that generally in different streams there could be multiple causes. Okay, and when there are multiple causes, then how do you decide? So in political discourse, those who are saying that only one factor is responsible, so they would be disappointed by this theory because it says multiple causes, and therefore there are two heuristics given to resolve such disputes. And before that, we talked about Bertrand Russell's theory also, who says that these causes are not really responsible for it. In fact, differential equations should be able to signify this. All right, let's look at the questions. Which one of the following statement best describes what the passage is about? The passage discusses the notion of multiple causes in phenomena to argue that concept of causation is irrelevant in modern science. ये गलत है बिल्कुल ही. The passage highlights the importance of recognizing and addressing multiple causes and understanding complex events and phenomena. This looks okay, we'll keep it. The passage asserts that focus on a single factor explanations in political discourse leads to lack of clarity and polarization. This is okay, but this is not what the passage is about. Okay, because okay, so fine, this is not a wrong statement. Focus on single factor leads to lack of clarity and polarization. That is okay, but how do you overcome that? That is not given here. The passage emphasizes the agency theory of causation and suggests two practical heuristics for navigating causal disputes, especially in political discourse. Now, this also could be what the passage is about. Is it not? So, 2 says passage highlights the importance of recognizing and addressing multiple causes in understanding complex events. Now, this is a general statement with respect to any event, okay, not just in political domain. Whereas here, this talks about agency theory of causation. That means agency means control. Somebody has to have a control, and suggests 2 heuristics for navigating causal disputes. Now, as per me, this also is okay. Though somebody might say that this is just mentioned over here towards the end, but that's fine. There's no rule that says that what best the passage is about should be there in the beginning or there in the middle or the end. But if let's say the author is trying to drive home this point, what is the author trying to drive home the point? What point is he trying to drive home? So he explored various fields in which these multiple causal links are given. So he talked about Bertrand Russell. He talked about different areas like biology in which the agency theory of causation is given, and then it provides a neat solution which separates causes from mere conditions, and causes are within the control. And then it talks about the political discourse, and then it talks about the 2 heuristics. So can we not say that this whole passage has been written about to suggest that, or to convey that in today's arena of political discourse, where there is a huge polarization because of single factor causal things being certain, there's a huge polarization, and therefore author suggests certain ways out of these causal disputes. 2 heuristics are given. So I would say that also becomes a very relevant point. The passage second says the passage highlights the importance of recognizing and addressing multiple causes in understanding complex events. How do you address multiple causes? Okay, this is my point here. Recognizing multiple causes is okay. But address, okay, so addressing means two heuristics. Okay, so this is more specific. Answer given is 2. Okay, but I had a hard look at 4 also, and to my mind 4 can also pass off as the correct answer, because overall he's trying to drive home this point that in political discourse, whenever there is a multiple or agency theory of causation or multiple causes, then it always leads to some bit of controversy and debates, and how to resolve it by these two heuristics. So he's trying to arrive at this, and the initial part, or whatever this part, was set up as a background or a backdrop to convey this particular message. So I mean, I leave it here. The official answer given is 2, but I find it difficult to eliminate even 4. The explanation given is that this political discourse is too narrow an area, and this particular passage is about in general. That's okay. I'm not denying that this passage started out in general, but ultimately the authors, from whatever I could gather here, author is moving towards this. Okay, author is defining this these conditions, how the conditions and causes are different, and what is within human agency, and then multiple causes. How do you resolve such situations? And then giving 2 particular heuristics. So I in fact would even look at it that way. In fact, 4 seemed to me to be a better answer than 2. All right. So let's go to the next question. Based on second paragraph, in identifying the cause of an event, Bertrand Russell is likely to ignore which of the following? So second paragraph, Bertrand Russell likewise notes that progress in science consists of a continually wider circle of antecedents as necessary. So role of differential equation, of course, he is not likely to ignore, right? So this is not the answer. Continually wider circle of antecedents also he's likely to consider, because it's very clearly given that continually wider circle of antecedents is necessary, right? So these 2 are gone. Now comes 3, the concept of causes in mature science. Causes play no role at all, right? Causes play no role at all. So fine. So this also, this he's likely to ignore, because he says that causes play no role at all. So that looks okay. That looks like the answer. Let's look at 4th. The importance of exactitude in scientific calculations. So the scientific pursuit of exactitude soon bottoms out in mature science of physics, according to which differential equations specify the changes. Soon bottoms out. Bottoms out means what? For Russell, however, scientific pursuit of exactitude soon bottoms out. Bottoms out means what? Hits the minimum. Bottoms out means hit the minimum. The economy has bottomed out, means the economy has hit the bottom. That means it has hit the lowest point. So if he says that the scientific pursuit of exactitude soon bottoms out, then does he consider it relevant or irrelevant? See, this is very clear. Okay, this now there's no doubt that concept of causes is definitely going to be ignored by Bertrand Russell, because very clearly is mentioned here. Causes play no role at all. Right? So this definitely is one of the answers. Okay, I would say. But then this importance of exactitude, because whatever I read here, see, we are not scientific experts. Okay, so I don't propose, or I don't say that I could read between the lines here or go deeper into it and try to understand this Russell's meaning. But to my mind, the scientific pursuit of exactitude soon bottoms out in the mature science of physics, means it doesn't have any role. It bottoms out. So as per me, 4th could also be the answer. But anyway, since 3 is a much more clearer answer, then we will mark 3 here. So as I said, that these 2 again posed a bit of a challenge in accepting the options. What are the 2 practical heuristics suggested by the authors? 2 practical heuristics, बहुत simple है. A or B, अगर आप बोल रहे हो A is better than B, then you show. You need to elaborate. You can't just say that. You can just claim that. Okay? You have to basically you have to say why their handle is fairer, right? So, and then second is that you have to see that it is tractable. That means it can be controlled. Okay, it is within control. So let's look for options. Demonstrating the existence of a causal handle and explaining is practical wrong. Why a specific handle is more desirable and addressing practicalities. This looks okay. Focusing on a single factor, no. Limiting the discussion to agency, wrong. So second is a very clear answer. No dispute on this. Absolutely fine. According to the passage, what is the main difference between a cause and a condition? Cause वो है जो आपके कंट्रोल में है, जो आप चेंज कर सकते हो. कंडीशन वो है जो चेंज नहीं कर सकते, right? Agency theory very clearly says causes from mere in their ability to control them to return this. So causes और इसमें ये बहुत डिफरेंस है. Cause को आप कंट्रोल कर सकते हो. Cause can be manipulated. Condition cannot be manipulated. This is okay. Cause is a single factor, but ये तो बिल्कुल गलत है. Cause is specific, wrong. Cause is always related, wrong. One is a very clear answer. So, two questions, logical and all right. One couple of questions. One question, okay, you can say still okay, still okay. I mean, this is still okay. So, you can say three questions are okay here. Two are absolutely okay. One is okay, okay. And one is not really okay because as per me, still I would have gone for four. All right, let's take a look at the VA part here. All right, first paragraph. Having been caught off guard, they quickly mobilized. Dependent sentence, not the opening one. When the Soviet Union launched Sputnik into orbit in 1957, Western policymakers in the US and elsewhere were shocked into recognizing they'd fallen behind. Okay, could be the opening statement. Yet, not the opening statement. Today, not the opening statement because it says same transformation. All right, so we'll start with second. When the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, Western policymakers were shocked into recognizing they had fallen behind. तो फिर क्या करेंगे वो? Can we go to 3? No. Can we go to 4? No. Having been caught off guard. Okay, so having been caught off guard. That means they didn't realize that Soviet Union was so far ahead of them. They quickly mobilized to catch up and laid the groundwork for GPS, Starlink, military communication, other technologies that keep the modern world coming. So यहाँ पे वो पिछड़ गए, but then they caught up and they quickly mobilized a lot of these other technologies. So 2 and 1. Now we are left with 4 and 3. Yet, despite calls for more US leadership in this area, क्रिप्टो, तो अभी क्रिप्टो कहाँ आ गया यहाँ पे? अभी तो हम कम्युनिकेशन की बात कर रहे हैं, modern communication technologies की. We are not talking about crypto. That is given in fourth, blockchain and digital assets. So 3 cannot come after 1. We have to go to 4. So this was talking about history. Now today, blockchain and digital assets hold the same transformation potential that satellite communication did for an earlier generation. Yet, despite calls for more leadership in this area, the US is at risk of falling behind globally. So the author is trying to say, just as it happened in the space race, US fell behind. So, but they tried to catch up in communications. So today, the same potential lies with blockchain and digital assets, and despite US calling for more leadership, there is a risk that they will fall behind globally. So 2, 1, 4, 3. So all right, good question. Absolutely no problem in this. The strong reaction highlights not so independent statement. Surprisingly, my argument, which argument? Dependent statement. At a recent conference, I suggested that literary scholars should help students. Independent sentence. Although there is a valid concern regarding the imposition, my goal, dependent sentence. Very clearly, we'll start with 3. At a recent conference, I suggested that literary scholars should help students become better interpreters of each other to improve their interpersonal relationships. So this fellow suggested that literary scholars should help students and advise them on interpersonal relationships. Now, the strong reaction, still the reaction has not happened. So we can't go from 3 to 1. Although there is a valid concern regarding this, my goal, justify kar raha hai. So this also we can't. We'll have to go to 2. Surprisingly, my argument. So his argument that literary scholars should help students was met with accusations of condoning tyranny, as it's seemingly assumed we know how to live well and can impose our views on others. So people actually wrongly interpreted his whatever argument he was making, and they thought that he was trying to condone or pardon tyranny. So their logic was that if we are trying to give some gyan to others, which means that we know how to live well and we can impose our view on others. So which is not a good thing. So author suggested in a different sense, but it was perceived in a different sense by people. and therefore it was met with a lot of accusations. Now, where do we go? Although there is a valid concern regarding imposition of values. Now, impose our views and imposition of values. My goal was to promote meaningful reflection connecting the classroom to daily life. Now, here he's trying to now justify, and he's trying to defend himself. He's saying that, okay, there is a valid concern. This concern that people are saying that you are assuming that we know how to live well and impose our view. So this is okay, there's a valid concern, but my goal was to promote meaningful reflection connecting the classroom to daily life. The strong reaction highlights how some humanists have relinquished their historic role of helping people find meaning. So ultimately, there is a closing sentence that says that, okay, all said and done, my goal was to do certain things, but the strong reaction is highlighted that the humanists have relinquished means left or abandoned their historic role of helping people find meaning. That means, so earlier, the humanists they used to help people to find meaning in life, but now they've abandoned their role, and therefore, my suggestion of this nature met with such strong counter, right? So his suggestion or argument was opposed quite vehemently, so to say. So 3241 is the right answer. All right, para summary. Now, para summary is, there were 3 and 2 were horrible. If you really ask me, the correct option in one of those was so pathetic. In fact, the sentence itself was wrong. It was wrong grammatically on n number of counts. So I don't know how such sentences. In fact, I should have copied and showed you that sentence here. But if you want, you can go and look at that summary and that correct option there, and look at the sentence construction there. It is pathetic. I don't know how it is even come out in this kind of a mock. Absolutely pathetic grammatical construction of that particular sentence, and that has been justified with the correct answer. So that's the challenge. See, if you make too long a passage as summary, and then you try to cram it in one sentence as an option, then you have to be exceedingly well at connecting your different modifiers, your different parts of a sentence, different clauses. You have to really construct a sentence beautifully. You cannot leave any grammatical errors over there. Okay, and the longer the sentence is, the more ideas you try to pack in, the more difficult it is to construct a grammatically correct sentence. And unfortunately, that is compromised, and still it is marked given as a right answer. So I'm quite horrified at that particular question. So this question was, I mean, out of the 3 summaries, this is the only one that I felt was worth looking at. One note on its own is just a note. Put it together on top of next, you can start building melodic or harmonic relationships. So note is basically the music wala note. एक के बाद एक म्यूजिक मेलोडिक बन जाती है. For rhythm, you need enough notes arranged in time to establish a pattern. Right? So rhythm के लिए आपको बहुत सारे notes arrange करने पड़ेंगे pattern में. Notes make sense in relation to what came before. Repetition gives sounds purpose. Repetition serves as a handprint of human intent. तो आपने notes लगाया, फिर notes का एक pattern बनाया, फिर उसको repeat करते चले गए. सपोज ऐसा है, ऐसा आपने बनाया, फिर उसके बाद में ऐसा बना दिया, फिर उसके बाद में ऐसा बनाया, तो रिपीटिशन होता गया, ये पैटर्न बन गया. Phrase that might have sounded arbitrary the first time might come to sound perfectly shaped and communicated the second. तो पहली बार आपको ये बड़ा ऑड लगा, लेकिन अब ये रिपीट हो रहा है. Rhythm is based on expectation. So expectation अब ये हो गई है कि आपकी वही चीज वापस आएगी. So that is, rhythm is based on those expectations. Rather than reacting to beats, we anticipate. तो इस तरह से हम anticipate करने लगते हैं beats. We dance, clap or nod our heads along to well-placed predictable notes. This entrainment, now this process of basically nodding our heads or dancing or clapping to the beats or tune is called entrainment. So this is more than human nature. Scientists have found that cockatoos, parrots, sea lions, and rats all dance to repetitive beats. Let's take a look at the. Now see, when in such a passage, in fact, you can always predict how wrong options would be worded. A couple of wrong options, because यहाँ पे इन्होंने 4 जानवरों के नाम दिए हैं. So I'm sure there will be certain options which will include all animals in general. No specific mention being made of a certain type of animal or a category of animal, right? So इस तरह से 2 ऑप्शन तो आपको मिल ही जाएंगे जो कि गलत होंगे, और वो हमें मिले, वो कहाँ मिले? सेकेंड वाला मिला हमें. Rhythm is created through repetition of notes, and it is the basis of human entrainment that leads to dancing and clapping, which is observed in humans and animals alike. See, humans तो ठीक है, but animals may not all animals. So this itself makes it wrong. We don't even need to evaluate whether this is exactly giving you the sense of what is given here. We don't even need to do that. It's a waste of time. सबसे पहले इसमें ये देख लिया हमने एनिमल्स दिया हुआ है, तो दिस इज रॉन्ग. फिर सेकंड वाले पार्ट में देखा हमने इस थर्ड वाले ऑप्शन में, इसमें भी वही दिया हुआ है एज वेल एज एनिमल्स. तो दिस ऑल्सो इज रॉन्ग. आई डोंट इवन नीड टू रीड दिस. ओके. हाँ, अब ये हो सकता है दैट दीज गाइज कैन बी एक्सपेक्टेड टू पुट एनिमल्स इन ऑल द ऑप्शंस. यस, दे आर वेरी वेल केपेबल ऑफ दैट. ऐसा हो सकता है, लेकिन आई होप ऐसा नहीं हो. इसमें अगर ऐसा हो गया तो फिर गड़बड़ हो जाएगी. So then रही सही जो इनके ऊपर I mean whatever little bit of semblance of sanity is there, that also will go away. All right, so दो ऑप्शन हमने निकाल दिए एनिमल्स देख के. Let's look at now the last one. Rhythm is established by arranging notes in time. Repetition gives the sound purpose. Creating expectations and entrainment that causes all animal species. इसमें तो ह्यूमन का नाम ही नहीं है और all animal species लिख दिया, तो ये भी गए. करेक्ट ऑप्शन जो बचा है वो 1 बचा है, क्योंकि इसमें सर्टन एनिमल्स हो. Rhythm requires pattern of notes arranged in time with repetition, survey the handprint of human intent, creating expectations and entrainment in both humans and certain animals. So easy question था, ये कर लेना चाहिए समरी में. Oh sorry, ये गलत आ गया. I should have taken it off. My mistake. This is a carry forward from the last assignment, so I'll remove it. Let's look at the para completion here. Many investors rely on these ratings to make informed decisions about their investments. So ESG ratings have become increasingly important for investors and companies worldwide. तो ये तो बहुत clearly लग रहा है कि यहाँ पे आ ही सकता है ये. Many investors rely on these ratings. So these ratings are environmental, social, and governance ratings. And investors, okay, so they become important for investors and companies worldwide. So many investors rely on these to make informed decisions. However, the recent downgrade for major companies by MSCI, one of the world's leading providers, has highlighted the need for greater regulation and transparency. The downgrade. So now downgrades is continuing. So there's absolutely no point of putting this thing here. But primarily attributed to the company's inadequate responses to climate change and poor governance practices. Many investors rely on the rating. अभी downgrade हो गया कि चल रहा है. This event means the downgrading. So there is no space here also. Has raised concern about credibility and reliability of ESG ratings, as inconsistencies and lack of standardization across different rating agencies make it difficult for investors to compare companies effectively. Now, some of you might have thought that, in fact, some of you, I also initially thought, I also was looking at it, whether it can come in the end. Because these ratings could refer to this ESG ratings, and this event has raised concerns and inconsistencies. And lack of course makes it difficult for investors to compare companies. So why would it not come here? See, after a little bit of thought, we would realize that it won't come here because of the simple reason that we have already mentioned it, that investors rely on these ratings. And then we are now saying here that this lack of standardization makes it difficult for investors to compare companies. So हमने already बता दिया कि investor इस तरीके से decision लेते हैं. Therefore they will find difficulty because of all these problems. अगर हमने पहले लिख दिया कि they will find it difficult to compare, तो फिर यहाँ पे इसको बोलने का क्या मतलब है कि they rely on these ratings? Why do we even need to say this when we already have found that these are inadequate to compare companies effectively? ये ठीक नहीं है, तो फिर how can we say that many investors rely on these ratings? तो ये end में नहीं आएगा. This will come only in the beginning. All right, so this takes care of it. So this is what I could find worth looking at. Though I had gone through the other passages also in that, but again, passages were okay. You could understand that those passages had nothing difficult about them in terms of reading, but couple of questions in each of them were quite ridiculous. All right, that's it. Thank you.